What if the Jedi anticipated and survived Order 66? Let's explore the depths of this scenario in the video. After their mission to Oba Diah, Anakin and Obi-Wan returned to the Jedi Temple with troubling news. Darth Tyrannus, who commissioned the clone army, is Count Dooku. That doesn't make sense. The clones have been nothing but loyal, and they'd never help the CIS. We must consider the possibility that this happened before Dooku fully embraced the dark side.
Possible, but great is the risk of not considering the threat. Compromised the entire clone army may be.
Master Yoda is right. We have no idea how deep Dooku's influence goes. While they might be allies to us today, there's no telling what might come in the future, especially with this war.
Wasn't there an incident a few weeks back of friendly fire with a clone executing a Jedi?
Anakin shifts uncomfortably at the memory. Not only was that one of his soldiers, but the resulting investigation led to Fives nearly killing the Chancellor and being executed by the Coruscant Guard. Yes. One of my men killed Master Tiplar. I still don't know exactly what happened, but one of my men claims that the clones have chips programmed into their heads. The one who tried to kill the Chancellor? Yes, that one. Despite the shaky source, the Council understands the threat and wants to look into the clones. However, another problem is the mysterious Darth Sidious. Although they've known about this Dark Lord since Geonosis, they have no clue about his identity beyond being an influential government official. He will likely try to halt their progress if they try to investigate, but there is also an opportunity to lure him out into the open. The Council agrees to petition the Chancellor to launch a Senate inquiry into these inhibitor chips with Jedi supervision. They reason that if a Sith Lord like Count Dooku is involved, the Jedi have a stake in this development. The Chancellor and Senate are reluctant to launch any investigation, reasoning that they must present a united front, and an investigation like this might anger the Kaminoans. In turn, this infringement might cause other groups to join the CIS. Mace Windu remains adamant, reminding them that the Sith have now infiltrated the clones, posing a security threat. He takes this further by threatening to pull the Jedi Order's support in the war. This bold move is controversial as Palpatine makes it seem like the Jedi are abandoning their duties to chase shadows. Much of the Senate rallies alongside them, as do the Kaminoans. They claim that the Jedi want to prolong the war to gain more power. However, others support the Jedi's actions, especially when heroes like Mace Windu and Obi-Wan support the decision. As tensions escalate, many Jedi begin to leave the front lines. At first, it is the Padawans, the Elders, and then those in the Temple. Soon Jedi Knights depart, and then the Masters. The Order does this gradually, leaving in small groups over several weeks. This ensures their disappearance isn't obvious until it's too late to stem the tide. Most Jedi meet up on Dagobah, though a handful of Jedi remain on Coruscant. Taking a page from the Sith, they decide to work from the shadows to figure out the identity of Darth Sidious. Each Jedi spies on a senator suspected of being the Sith Lord. Among them is Anakin, who is given the most important task of all, to keep an eye on Palpatine. However, this also allows him to spend more time with Padme. Palpatine meets with Anakin regularly, being the only Jedi in his inner circle. Still, he does continue on his mission to spy on the Chancellor. As the two meet, Anakin notes how much the Chancellor is trying to turn him against them. He sees small hints of Palpatine hinting more and more that he has dark side abilities. He reports all of this to the Jedi, who demand Anakin continue spying on them.
My boy, I'm so glad you have not joined this farce of a protest the Jedi have launched.
Of course. I must admit the Jedi raise many valid concerns. You've seen what happens when those inhibitor chips malfunction.
That was one incident amongst millions of clones. Surely you've seen their loyalty firsthand. Can you truly say they are traitors?
Well, no. But Tup, the trooper who killed Master Tiplar, acted like he could not control himself. If all the clones could be told to act that way, it would be disastrous. Before Palpatine can respond, the room shakes violently. An explosion echoes through the corridors of the Senate building, followed by the distant sounds of blaster fire and the unmistakable hum of lightsabers. The doors burst open, and clone troopers rush in, with their weapons ready. Commander Fox's squad hurries to secure the office, while Anakin ignites his lightsaber. As the troopers form a protective circle around Palpatine, the massive form of General Grievous bursts through the window, cutting through the clones. The cyborg's yellow eyes gleam with a malevolent intent.
Grievous.
Skywalker, I should have known you would be here, but you are alone.
The clones try to fight him off, but Grievous easily tosses them aside. His movements are a blur while his lightsabers and fists hack through anyone in his way. Anakin sidesteps Fox as he's thrown aside and blocks both lightsabers. The cyborg's sheer strength leaves Anakin on the defense. Grievous tries sweeping his leg, forcing Anakin to leap up and avoid him, but the general's hand lashes out and grabs him, throwing him across the room. Anakin leaps back and sees Grievous approaching with all 4 lightsabers spinning. The heat of his attack burns Anakin's skin, but he times his next attack and manages to sever one of the cyborg's hands. But that victory is short-lived, as Grievous kicks Anakin aside. He then lifts Palpatine off the ground before leaping out the window to a waiting starship. Anakin leaps out after him, ordering the remaining clones to secure the facility. Suddenly, Anakin's comlink crackles to life.
Skywalker, what's going on?
General Grievous has attacked the Chancellor. I'm going after him now.
Wait, we need you down here. There are too many droids for us to take alone.
We can't leave the Chancellor now. It will destroy the Jedi's reputation if the Chancellor is captured. Before Mace can argue, Anakin hops onto his starfighter and chases after him. The skies of Coruscant are dotted with starships and turbo-laser fire. The CIS had come in full force, with thousands of ships pouring through hyperspace. Anakin has to weave and spin his fighter through the chaos, but nothing distracts him from his mission to save the Chancellor. He never loses sight of Grievous's ship, shooting down the fighters between him and the invisible hand. Anakin manages to land in the hangar just before the doors close on them. R2-D2 hacks into the system to learn where Palpatine is. Once Anakin has the coordinates, he rushes through the halls with R2. The droid guards try to stop him, but they all quickly fall to his lightsaber. Eventually, Anakin reaches the Chancellor's cell, cutting down the guards and opening the door to reveal Palpatine sitting while Dooku stands before him. The Count turns to Anakin and smiles.
Ah, Master Skywalker. Right on schedule.
He ignites his lightsaber and blocks Anakin's first attack. Dooku twists his lightsaber and pushes Anakin back on the defensive. Chancellor, get behind me. Palpatine moves to his side just as he redoubles his attacks. Dooku's edge slowly gives away as Anakin presses him. His attacks are quick and strong, taking everything he's learned from his previous experiences. Soon, Dooku finds himself on the defensive as Anakin throws him into a corner. From outside the cell, R2-D2 beeps frantically as more droids approach. Anakin leaps back and shuts the cell before Dooku can get out. He turns just in time to see Grievous marching towards him with a squad of battle droids. Anakin deflects their attacks, placing himself in front of Palpatine. As some of the droids fall, Grievous takes his place and pulls out his lightsabers. He raises both lightsabers and blocks his attacks, but the ship is rocked by turbo blaster fire, causing them to stumble. Anakin takes this opportunity to kick the cyborg aside and leads the Chancellor away. R2-D2 uses the map and takes them to the escape pod hatches. Grievous growls and chases after him, leaving the droids to free Dooku. Eventually, they reach a long corridor lined with lifeboats. Palpatine and R2-D2 head inside, but Grievous bounds into the room before Anakin can join them. He slams his metallic fists into the ground, sending a shockwave that throws Anakin off balance. With 2 hands, Grievous slashes at Anakin while he's on the ground. The Jedi must roll from side to side to avoid getting cut. But then his 3rd hand comes up and grabs Anakin by the leg, then slams him against the wall.
A noble effort, young Skywalker. But you have failed, and this planet shall fall to me. Starting with the Chancellor.
Grievous thrusts his lightsabers forward, but Anakin uses the Force to redirect the blow into the wall and kicks him back. When he rises, Anakin's eyes are burning a deep yellow. While Grievous is trying to pull out his lightsaber, Anakin slices off his hand and follows up with a barrage of attacks that Grievous struggles to defend with his remaining limbs. But as he steps back, Anakin clenches his fist, and the cyborg's metallic chest caves in. Grievous clutches his heart and begins to cough. He looks up as Anakin continues to squeeze his chest further. Their eyes meet one last time, until Anakin smiles cruelly and closes his fist, crushing his chest completely.
My boy, are you all right?
Yes, I am now. The two waste no time in escaping. The lifeboat rips through space as the invisible hand is pounded by fire from multiple ships. Once Anakin reports that they are clear, the ships intensify their fire. Eventually, the CIS flagship begins to turn and retreat. Meanwhile, the pair returns to Coruscant's surface, where Palpatine congratulates Anakin for his heroism, while the Senate showers him with praise. Among these senators is Padme, who comes with momentous news. She is pregnant with their children. Anakin happily embraces and kisses her. For a moment, he completely forgets the war around them. But this doesn't last, as the siege continues and the clones need Anakin to lead the defenses. Things begin to turn in the favor of the Republic. Killing Grievous was a serious blow, and the CIS was forced to retreat. However, the casualties of this battle are extreme for both sides. Large portions of Coruscant are destroyed, and many defenders fall, including most of the remaining Jedi. A few days later, Anakin meets with the Chancellor to discuss the aftermath. Although Mace is furious at Anakin for disobeying his orders, he allows him to continue spying on Palpatine. Chancellor, I hope you are recovering well from your capture.
Indeed I am, Anakin. My time in that cell was short because of you. However, I fear that I have some less pleasant business to discuss. The destruction scene here is unlike anything we've ever seen. People are angry, Anakin. Most people are pointing fingers at the Jedi.
The Jedi? But we weren't responsible for this attack.
No. But they are the protectors of the Republic, and its very heart was nearly ripped from its chest while the Jedi did nothing.
Not nothing. I saved you. Mace and the others led the clones to victory.
Indeed, but this is just a handful of thousands. The Order had left Coruscant and done nothing while we were under siege. The Senate is in an uproar, calling for the Republic to bring them back to line. I worry for you, my boy.
I'm not afraid of the Senate.
Oh? And what of your child?
Anakin freezes and stares at Palpatine in surprise. But the Chancellor simply smiles and assures him that he understands.
Don't worry. Your secret is safe with me. Like how you are spying on me. But while your loyalty is admirable, if this disagreement continues, you may be forced to join them on Dagobah. Is that a life for your children? And that is the best case. I may be forced to arrest you too if the Senate is adamant enough. But there is another way.
What other way?
Simple. You join me. You need not share the same fate as the Jedi. I will ensure that you face no consequences for your marriage, and you are rewarded as you deserve.
Anakin hardly believes what he's hearing. Despite spying on him, the Chancellor was willing to forgive him for everything and even reward him. He stares at the older man in awe and then bows his head. What would you have me do? Palpatine smiles to himself, feeling the darkness growing in Anakin. He places a hand on his shoulder.
Fortunately for us, time is on our side thanks to your actions on the Invisible Hand. Some Jedi survived the battle, and they must be dealt with.
He explains that while he can have the clones hunt them down, he doesn't know their locations and numbers. If he wants to ensure the Jedi are blinded, he needs to take them all out in one move. That is where Anakin will summon them for a meeting and provide the coordinates to the Coruscant Guard. There is some hesitation in Anakin to turn against his former comrades, but the Chancellor reminds him of the rewards of his action. Not only will he be given a position to reshape the galaxy, but he will also be able to publicly reveal his marriage without fear from the Jedi. That promise is enough to push Anakin into action. He contacts Mace Windu and informs him that he has evidence that the Chancellor is a Sith Lord. He suggests calling a meeting to discuss their next move. A few days later, the Jedi sect on Coruscant assembled for this mission briefing. Their headquarters is an abandoned warehouse in the lower districts. Anakin, Mace Windu, and a dozen other Jedi Masters have assembled. This task force consists of the very best the Order has to offer. As Anakin enters the room, all of them turn to him expectantly. Slowly, Anakin begins to read the alibi Palpatine gave him. Meanwhile, Commander Fox and his Coruscant Guard get into position to storm the facility. I have called this meeting because I have news about the Chancellor. I have learned that he is the Sith Lord we are hunting. The recent battle was staged by him in an attempt to have Count Dooku take over the government. But with Dooku defeated, Palpatine has offered to make me his apprentice. The other Jedi listen intently, their eyes widening in surprise as they hear the report. They mutter amongst themselves at the implications of this revelation. Many did not survive the recent battle, and hearing this heartens them, because at least they didn't die for nothing. Some of them, including Mace, suggest attacking the Chancellor now and apprehending him, while they have the element of surprise. Anakin makes sure to record this for Palpatine. However, others believe that he is too powerful to take down alone, and that they should undermine him. One of them, Plo Koon, speaks up.
If this is true, then we must report the news to the Jedi Council immediately. We must act together.
The Chancellor agrees with that assessment. Suddenly, an explosion blasts the doors open and flies across the room. Mace leaps forward and uses the Force to throw them aside. However, blaster fire soon pours in after them. The Jedi Masters all ignite their lightsabers and defend against the attack. The Coruscant guards stream through the opening, firing and lobbing grenades at them. However, they find experienced masters who coordinate their defenses and support each other's defenses. This creates a nearly impenetrable barrier. Soon the clones begin to fall, but the Jedi stand firm. Anakin moves behind the nearest master and strikes him across the leg. The Jedi screams and falls, opening a gap that the clones exploit. One throws a grenade that sends more off their feet, but a burst of lightning suddenly forces Anakin to halt. Master Plo stands before Anakin, his hand smolders from the burst of Force judgment.
Traitor!
He swings his lightsaber at an overhead blow with such force that Anakin stumbles back. Fox and a handful of others advance on Plo, but a single Force push sends them flying. Gritting his teeth, Anakin sees he's alone as the clones are too busy dealing with the other Jedi. I have no choice, Master. I will not turn against the Republic.
There is always a choice, young one. I sense that the Republic is not on your mind now.
Enough of your mind games. I do not want to hurt you, so please make this easy for yourself. He unleashes a shockwave towards the Jedi Master, but Plo easily bats it aside and charges towards the smoke. His blade lights up the darkened room, seeming to glow brighter as he draws on the Force. Plo senses the darkness around Anakin and uses that to fuel his righteous fury. Anakin blocks each attack but begins to give ground. Though his attacks are aggressive and strong, he's lagging behind the Master.
I sense your hesitation, your uncertainty. The dark side provides little comfort in moments like this.
His lightsaber comes flashing out and narrowly misses Anakin's face, leaving a gash across his cheek. As Master Plo prepares to backswing, Anakin catches his arm and holds it in place. With his metallic hand, he punches the Kelfor Jedi across the face. The metallic hand sends Master Plo's head snapping back, allowing Anakin to lash his lightsaber across his breathing mask. The Jedi's eyes widen as the air shifts around his throat. Without his protective filters, he drops to the ground and gasps. trying to suck in a breath. True to his words, Anakin doesn't let his friend suffer for long and quickly decapitates him. By that time, the clones managed to finish off most of the remaining Jedi. The only ones still standing are Kit Fisto and Mace Windu. The two stand shoulder to shoulder as they fight off the remaining attacks. However, as Master Plo falls, they realize the battle is lost.
Master Windu, you must report this to the Jedi on Dagobah. I will buy you time.
May the Force be with you. Mace unleashes a Force shockwave that throws the nearest clones aside. Anakin runs after him, but Kit Fisto cuts him off with a slash, forcing Anakin to break off pursuit and defend himself. Mace follows up by lifting the shattered door in front of himself as a shield. When he gets close, he hurls the door forward, knocking aside anything in his way before disappearing into the night. Kit Fisto, meanwhile, breathes heavily from his wounds, but stills himself for battle. As Anakin attacks, he blocks each move, then shoves him back. However, the clones don't give him a chance to rest as they pour fire on the Jedi Master once Anakin is clear. Though Fisto manages to block the first few shots, one hits him across the stomach, causing him to double over in pain. Anakin steps towards him and lifts his lightsaber before decapitating him. Once that's done, Anakin contacts the Chancellor to report this news.
Well done, my boy. So does this mean all the Jedi have been dealt with?
Not quite. Mace Windu managed to escape. I have troopers hunting him now.
Palpatine's smile fades as he hears this.
That is unfortunate to hear. My plan requires secrecy. I am certain you realize that.
I understand. Don't worry, Master Windu will not pose a threat to your plans, even if he escapes.
I will leave nothing to chance. If even one Jedi escapes, all of our plans are in jeopardy. Now we must act before the Jedi have any more time to prepare. I will give you a task force to finish off the Jedi Order. You will ensure that not even one survives.
I understand, Master. It will be done.
Palpatine immediately organizes the 501st into a task force to deal with the Jedi on Dagobah. He uses his emergency powers to assemble this fleet, declaring the Jedi traitors to the Republic and declaring war on them. He uses the video Anakin's taken of the meeting to enact Order 66. Mace warns the Jedi Order of what's happening, giving them time to prepare for the attack. While the Imperial cruisers approach the planet, dozens of Jedi starfighters emerge from the surface to engage the fleet. They swarm over the lumbering star destroyers and pepper them with missiles and laser fire. Their number of fighters and superior piloting skills allow the Jedi to dodge the point defense lasers and star destroyers raining down on them. Meanwhile, their missiles and lasers lash across the fleet's shields. After a few minutes, the Jedi fighters scatter away before the cruisers launch a counterattack. As the task force begins releasing its gunships and fighter complements, the Jedi swing back for another attack. This time Anakin is ready, as he leads the Imperial fighter squadrons in a counterattack. His fighter weaves through space, dodging the swarms of fighters as hundreds of dogfights explode around them. Multiple Jedi fall to Anakin's fighter, blowing a hole in the protective screen of the Jedi fighters and allowing Imperial troop ships to break through. Soon the fighting becomes too much and the remaining Jedi retreat towards the surface. While it's a victory, it is only the first step. Dagobah was an unexplored jungle planet, and they had little intelligence on the Jedi's activity there. That meant they could not risk any orbital bombardment of the planet. Instead, troops would land to flush the Jedi out, advancing to places that showed signs of habitation. Fighters would swarm ahead, firebombing large parts of the forest to create a landing zone and lure out any Jedi. As soldiers land, they begin sweeping through the jungles, hunting for any Jedi. This type of combat suits the Jedi much more, as it prevents the use of heavier weapons. Instead, the clones had to move in small squads to cross the harsh terrain. Jedi would ambush these groups and slowly whittle down their numbers. It isn't just the Jedi who the clones are fighting against. The whole planet seems to be turning against them, as they would be attacked by the wildlife and plants of the world, like dragon snakes, acipipteros, and fungi. But rather than being sporadic attacks, these almost seemed coordinated, like they were being controlled by the Jedi. This further slowed down the progress of the clones. This makes firebombing impossible, as wherever the fighters moved in, the wildlife would attack. Anakin would lead several of these incursions, managing to storm some small Jedi villages in small groups of them. However, he could not find important Jedi like Yoda, Obi-Wan, or Mace Windu. After weeks of fighting, his task force makes little progress in wiping out the Order. But while he's fighting, Anakin receives a message from Kamino. The clone garrison there reports that a Jedi strike force is attacking their facility. They are led by Mace Windu and need reinforcements. Anakin realizes that the battle on Dagobah is a distraction and departs with most of his forces, leaving only a smaller unit to keep the Jedi occupied. As he arrives on Kamino, the clones report that Mace Windu and over 200 Jedi are attacking Tipoca City. Anakin's task force deploys reinforcements into the city to help contain the Jedi. Most of the fighting takes place in the hangars and barracks, but Anakin heads down to the labs, knowing their priority would be disabling the inhibitor chips. True to his prediction, Anakin finds Mace Windu standing there. However, the figures accompanying him are more shocking. On one side is Ahsoka, and on the other is Count Dooku.
You! Ahsoka, what are you doing with these people?
I could ask you the same thing, Anakin. Why have you turned against the Jedi?
They abandoned the Republic. They left Coruscant at the mercy of the likes of him.
He points dismissively at Count Dooku, but the Sith Lord laughs.
And who do you think ordered that attack? Your precious Chancellor. We all know it. I see he has decided to replace me with an inferior successor, which raises the question, which of us is truly the traitor?
I suppose we shall see. Ahsoka, come here. You don't need to die with them.
I've heard enough. I know who the traitor is.
Growling, Anakin draws his weapon and leaps at them. When his foot hits the ground, he throws his hand up in a burst of the Force that sends Ahsoka stumbling back, but Dooku and Mace keep their footing. The two lunge at Anakin, but the younger Jedi springs into action. His lightsaber flashes and blocks each of their attacks, while Anakin throws in kicks and punches that send them off balance. His attacks are like a whirlwind, meant to grind them down with his youth and energy. Both masters meet his attacks, blocking each move with uncanny precision, but Anakin seems relentless and drives them back. The more he attacks, the more his dark energies grow around him. It lends him strength and keeps him in the fight. Suddenly, Ahsoka leaps behind him and lashes out with both lightsabers. Anakin breaks off his attack to defend himself. She keeps low and continues to harass him, striking at his legs and ducking under his attacks. With two lightsabers, her attacks come twice as fast and keep Anakin on the defensive. When Mace and Dooku rejoin the fight, it strains Anakin's defenses even further. He feels all three of them bearing down on him. Soon they score some minor hits across his sides and arms.
Do you think you can stop what's being set in motion? Even if you defeat me, you're still outnumbered.
Did you think for a moment that I would come here alone?
Reports begin to crackle across Anakin's comlink, reporting new ships arriving from hyperspace. This time, an entire fleet of CIS ships join the battle, reinforcing the Jedi task force.
Since the failure on Coruscant, I realized my master had something planned, and that I would not be a part of it.
His plans have already been realized, but you shall not see it.
Anakin lets out a burst of speed, powering himself up by the dark side and rushing the Count. Though Dooku tries to defend himself, Anakin moves too fast. With a single slash, he severs Dooku from the waist. He then whirls around just as Mace's lightsaber flashes towards him. Anakin sidesteps and kicks him aside. Ahsoka follows up and aims a slash across her head. Anakin blocks this and pushes her back. The young Jedi then tries to kick, but Anakin catches it and slams her against the wall. As Ahsoka falls, Mace takes her place, and the two lock blades. Their weapons send spark flying across the lab as both warriors pull all their energy into the blow. Mace senses the dark side of these attacks and begins to absorb them, using them to fuel him. Anakin feels his energy flowing ebb away into Mace, who begins to push his lightsaber down. Rather than sever his dark energy, Anakin powers it up, searching deep into his anger, fear, and doubt. At first, it only powers Mace, but after a moment, he begins to grimace. The dark energy is too much for him to handle all at once while dealing with this fight. Seeing him distracted, Anakin counterattacks. He twists Mace's lightsaber down and then swings his hands, severing them at his wrists. The Jedi Master screams in pain as he drops to the ground, but Anakin quickly beheads him. Behind him, a shout rings through the laboratory as Ahsoka hurries over and unleashes a series of quick strikes, driving Anakin back from the dead Master's body. Anakin isn't expecting this outburst and finds himself giving ground.
Your emotions are overflowing, Ahsoka. That's it. Give in to them. Let them fuel you.
I came here hoping to save you, but now I see you're too far gone. But whatever happens, I can at least stop you from hurting anyone else.
Ahsoka, don't you see? We can change the galaxy and make it something better. Together, like in the old days.
You weren't a murderer in the old days. You turned your back on everything, and I won't ever join you.
The other masters had warned her of what Anakin had become, and to be prepared for the worst. Ahsoka didn't believe those things, not even when they reported he killed Master Plo. But as she sees what Anakin's become firsthand, she can't let herself hold back anymore. Her lightsabers flash and spark relentlessly as she refuses to back down. Anakin was starting to slow down with his inquiries, but he saw the determination in Ahsoka's eyes and met them, not wanting to back down. As their lightsabers clash again, Anakin unleashes another burst of speed and rushes at his former Padawan. But this time, Ahsoka is ready and slices her lightsaber at the last second. Anakin freezes and feels the cut across his stomach. He then drops to his knees and glances back. Ahsoka is looking back at him with tear-filled eyes, but then looks away, just as Anakin collapses to the ground. Once he's gone, Ahsoka and the other Jedi secure the lab and deactivate the clone's inhibitor chips. With all the data on the clones ready, Ahsoka and the Jedi begin broadcasting these developments across the galaxy. They reveal how the Chancellor is taking control over countless clones and using them to amass power. Seeing this, many clones rise up and help the Jedi, while the Chancellor is voted out, allowing the clones to kill Palpatine. The Jedi are pardoned and invited to return to Coruscant, but they instead opt to remain on Dagobah to help heal the planet and grow closer to the Force. The one Jedi who doesn't join them is Ahsoka. After her experiences with fighting Anakin, she has a taste of the dark side and leaves to try and control it, not wanting to end up going down the same path as Anakin. That's our theory. The Star Wars universe is a galaxy filled with exciting stories and possibilities, and we love exploring them. If you want to accompany us on this journey to a galaxy far, far away, then please like, share, and subscribe to our channel.